Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog, everybody. You can see we got a little bit of snow. Not much, a little dusting yesterday. Still sticking around because it's like still freezing outside. If you're stopping in for the very first time, thank you for hitting the play button. Definitely think about subscribing if you want to follow me around town making pickups. And well, actually, I'm not just in town, I'm all over northeastern Oklahoma. Definitely would love to have you come along for the journey. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back, and make sure you hit the thumbs up and drop me a comment, because that helps the algorithm, as we all know, and I will be sure to reply to your comment. I'm headed to Muskogee, Oklahoma. I've got an empty trailer, 53 footer, and we're gonna drop it and pick up a loaded one. Off this ramp here, 25 miles per hour. Y'all guys ever do this? Like when you're going down, you find yourself, your whole body and your head and everything is turning with the turning with the road. Girl, you can do it. You can do it. This hill right here, every time I come on here, it's just it's tough going because of the grade, and you're just getting started. You know, one thing about these trucks is they perform at low RPMs. So between the 1,000 and 1,500 RPMs, you can rev it up to, you know, 16, 17, trying to get a little extra out of it. But our trucks are governed. They're governed at 67. That's as fast as we can go in them. I know sometimes when you're watching the videos, it looks like I'm going 100, but believe me, I'm not. Anytime you get over, I check my bottom mirror, I check my mirror, make sure ain't nobody in my blind spot. Hey, Mr. Prime. But no, there's not a whole lot of traffic out here today, which is nice. Coming into Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. We just crossed from Tulsa, and now we're moving into Broken Arrow. So where I live, right over there is Quick Trip's corporate office. Way back over there, if you guys know Quick, matter of fact, there's one of their stores. Where my wife works, matter of fact, she's parked right there. Hey, honey. But yeah, I'm going to show you Dow Tile. It's a pretty cool place. I'll kind of tell you a little bit more about it when we get there. All right, we're in the outskirts of Muskogee, Oklahoma, and right over there, that big old blue building, you guys, a big old blue factory. That is where we are heading. They really need it'd be nice if they had a stoplight right here, because when we come out of here, it's a nightmare sometimes. Catch just the wrong part of the day. Whew. A lot of people come down that road. So their operation kind of starts right here. They have trucks that come in, sand trucks, bring all that sand in there, sand and dirt, and I'm assuming most of it's some type of sand. And then it goes all the way through this factory here, and the end result is tile. Looks like they got a skeleton crew today, because usually this is all packed. Dow Tile. So Home Depot, Lowe's, all your tile companies. There might be a good chance that, because this is one of a few factories that they have. I think they have another one in Texas, if I remember correctly. Look at all them pallets. Usually I come through here and they'll have a flatbed here with all these pallets. That's what they put that tile on. OTR. Boy, this light. Usually that place is packed. The guy who does a lot of this over here was telling me they do about 100 truckloads a day when they're getting after it. And right down here is all LTL. You got Saya Southeastern. Estes, we got 2. So we're going to put it right here next to our one that we're taking out. Make sure we don't have nothing over. Just kind of swing it out. And then back over. Line it up. I think I overshot it. Yeah, I did. That's alright. We'll correct it. Right on line. Okay, so what I gotta do is go in, get the paperwork. I'm gonna try to get the trailer with the heaviest amount. These trailers typically have about 40,000 pounds on them, sometimes maybe 41. But I'm gonna get the biggest one, and they got another driver that's supposed to come and get the other one. So I'll be back in a second. All right, I'm gonna be swapping trailers here. We're gonna be taking that trailer right there. So unhook the airlines. I got brand new ones, so they haven't been broken yet. Drop the trailer. Always leave you a little bit of gap down here at the bottom, almost where you can put your hand underneath it. Pull your fifth wheel. Well, that sounded bad. Alright, we're going to pull out, get out just a little bit, dump your airbags. And that window I know is dirty. And that trailer will begin to lower down. And then basically that little gap that you gave, the airbags will go down, let that trailer hit. And then when I pull out from underneath it, it's a little more smoother. If you'll notice, that trailer didn't drop at all. And then you turn that back up. So shut that off so those airbags will raise back up. Also, the reason why you do that is the next person that comes and hooks to that, it's going to be lowered, so when they come through with their fifth wheel, it's going to hit and lift the trailer. If a yard jockey doesn't get to it first, and if they do, they have a tendency to leave them things sitting too high. Okay. And we'll hook to our other trailer back here. And not every driver does that. And you can always tell. I'll get here, well, again, if a yard jockey or something did it, then see, I can tell this is probably going to be too high. So I'm going to have to get back here and lower it. See? Yeah. I'm going to show you. See that gap right there? You want this fifth wheel to be about halfway through to be hitting that. Because what you can actually do is, as it slides back through, you can actually slide that under and go underneath that kingpin right there. And if you do, then that's a pain in their catooshies to get fixed. big old heavy trailer here. Whoops, sorry. So as I crank it down, I'm looking for that gap to go away. See now, see how this is now on top of this fifth wheel? So now, I'm going to give it a slight tug test. Okay, set your brake. Always check that. You don't want any gap on that fifth wheel. This is called your apron. You don't want any gap between that fifth wheel and that apron right there. And even though you did a dug test, always get up underneath here and look at that locking jaw. That locking jaw should be around that kingpin. Now you're ready to go. Taking it with us, so we're gonna turn this thing. Once it gets off the ground, it becomes easier to do than you can do it with one hand. Make sure that stand back far enough where this thing don't come back and smack you in the face. All right. Always check your tires. And then also check, most of your places you go to have a lock that will lock around your DOT bumper there. So even though, see this light's blinking green, that means that should be down. And it usually always is. And one thing I like to do is hook up my lines. Start with my blue line. Power. Always look down there, check your blink, your lights, make sure they're on. And then what I do is I'll get in here and I'll push my trailer brake in. What that's doing is that's pushing air into the trailer. So as I go back and check my tires back here and my lights, I can listen for any leaks. And if there is, then we can get them turned in. And usually once you push the air to it, see we have these air systems that will automatically feed air into these tires because they'll get low from sitting. You can hear that air line coming into the brake chambers and so forth. But I don't hear any hissing. So we don't have any leaks in the lines. So that's good. Mud flaps are intact. Lights. I always check these right here, make sure there's no placards turned around. And I'm ready to get the bills done. And there goes my, we have an automatic cutoff. It's about 3.5 minutes, I think. 3 minutes. On some trucks are different. Some are 5 and some are 3. But we are ready to go. I always move out of the way. I'll move over there. Just in case someone else comes through here and needs to use this dock. Now always pull forward just a little bit and always go check your trailer. Anytime you're picking up a trailer. Because you always want to make sure the doors are shut. In our case, we have rolled down doors, so. And the answer is yes. And I always open it just to make sure. And you can see the tile in there. See all that tile? And then go ahead and shut it. Our light, all of our lights are working good. We're good and legal. So if we get pulled over by DOT, we ain't got to worry about sweating the trailer. in this video, and I'm sorry if I'm actually let me know how you like this camera angle, because I may do this every now and then, especially when I'm on some of these longer runs, and just answer some questions you may have while you get to watch some road footage of, you know, wherever I'm at. But right now I'm on my way from Muskogee back to Tulsa, and I'm on the turnpike. But I got an email from a young man. I'm going to call him young. He's younger than me, but his name is Ryan, and he's from Pennsylvania, and he works for U.S. Foods. And I'm going to put a picture of his truck, picture that he sent me. And he had some really good questions, and I've gotten some questions from some other people, so I thought I would take this moment to answer a few of those. And if you happen to have a question or two that you want me to, you know, because I hate just answering questions to an individual when there may be a lot of people out there that may benefit from that information. And, you know, there's so many things to talk about, or so many questions. I think it just having these little segments where just a Q&A, I just answer some questions that come in that maybe I haven't answered in the past, maybe I have. And again, sorry, I don't have the quietest office to be able to do this, so I hope the noise of the truck and the engine and everything else isn't too overwhelming. But his first question is this, Chuck, what is your typical day when you arrive? I mean, like when you get to work, what's kind of going on? So typically what happens is every morning about, I would say probably about 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll get a text. And I'm usually already up anyway, but I'll get a text from my dispatcher for the day, and he's going to let me know what time to come in. So it could be 7 o'clock, could be 7:30, could be 8, could be 8:30, and those times will fluctuate based upon the freight, how the freight has come in overnight. Because again, we have line haul people who are bringing in freight throughout the night. And so I may be on a particular route he's going to have me on, or I may be doing, you know, whatever it is, but he'll give me that time. So when I get there every morning, I go in, I'll clock in, I'll go out and do my pre-trip on my truck, and then I'll hook to the trailer that I'm going to be working with that morning. Sometimes I work with multiple trailers, sometimes 3 or 4 a day. Just depends on what I'm doing. And he will then give me the bills. So if I'm going to be doing deliveries, I'll get the what they call just kind of like a bill or a DR, and it's got all the information of what I'm delivering. It shows what we're charging the customer to deliver it. There's a lot of information on there. That's why I've never shared one, just because there's a lot of information on there. So I'll have that. I usually at that point go get my pallet jack and my dolly, and I'll take them to my truck, or take them to the trailer, put them inside, make sure I have plenty of straps, make sure I have some load bars, because most of the time I'm going to do pickups in that same trailer, and I want to be able to secure things when I pick them up. So at that point, I'll then look at how the truck is set up, because it's already loaded, so there ain't anything I can do about it. Usually they've got some type of software that they load things according to routing purposes. So you're not like bouncing all over town delivering. You're going from one to the next, and it's usually not that far away. That's not always the case, but most of the time. So usually I'll look at my first 3 or 4 stops, see what I've got. If I can go further into the trailer, I will, just to kind of get familiar with the freight that's on there, so that as I get to the different stops, because many times I'm going to them for the first time, I want to be able to know what they're getting. Even though the bills will tell me 2 pallets, 3 pallets, 1 pallet, whatever, I'll kind of know what it looks like. And then from there, I hook up and I take off for the day. So that's kind of how my mornings get started. How many stops do I have a day? Well, of course, that varies. I've had as few as 6 stops. I've had as many as 15, and I'm talking about deliveries. And then pickups, you know, again, it kind of varies. I would say average probably 6, 7 pickups. Sometimes fewer than that. Depends on if I'm going to do bulk turns or something like that, where I'm going to leave the trailer, kind of like what I'm doing now. I went all the way to Muskogee, took an empty trailer out there, and then picked up a loaded trailer and then taking it back to the terminal. So that can vary. But, you know, I'm not touching very much of the freight. There's a few videos that you've seen where I've, you know, used a pallet jack and put some stuff in. Sometimes I will do that if a shipper receiver is really busy. And, you know, instead of sitting around waiting on them to load it or even unload it, I'll do that. I'll just do it myself. But for the most part, we don't touch a whole lot of freight. Now my work schedule, how that works is we work Monday through Friday, and we're off on the weekends. We're all off all major holidays. We do get 3 personal days a year, and then after you've been here for 6 months, you get a week of vacation, and then it begins to accrue. I think you can roll over up to 1 week per year. Some guys take their vacations and sell them back to the company. You can do that as well, but those personal days, they are use them or you lose them. Do I load the trailers? And the answer to that is no. Again, those are done by the dock workers, and they usually start showing up like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they strip the trailers that come in, and then they, according to that software, they then load them into our trailers for delivery. So no, we don't load anything really by hand or on our trailers. And then he also did mention, and I think I've answered this in the past, but we are paid by the hour. So if I get somewhere and sit for an hour and a half, it doesn't matter. I'm getting paid by the hour. And typically we work anywhere between 50 to 55 hours a week. That's pretty typical. Sometimes, very seldom do we work less than that, unless we're just in a real slow part of the freight season, which we're about to go into, January and February. And sometimes we have rolling days where they'll roll one of, they call it rolling off, where they'll send me a text in the morning and say, hey, you're going to be off today. But usually they don't do that more than once in maybe a week. And they rotate that throughout the drivers. So it's not just the same drivers all the time. So senior guys all the way down, you know, when freight season starts slowing down and they don't have enough for all of us to do, then we get that day off. And of course it's unpaid unless you happen to have a personal day or something like that you want to take. You can. He said, well, you know, another question I had from another gentleman was, what about benefits? We have insurance. We've got a couple of different plans to go from. They're relatively inexpensive. I would say for a family of 4, you're charged per week. If you get kind of the middle tier, I guess should say, of insurance, it's about, I think it's like $81 for a family of 4 or more. Of course, it's going to be less than that if it's just you and a sibling, or you and a child, or you and your wife or husband or whatever. I think it's like $40 if it's just you and someone else. Dental is like $6. Vision's like $2. They do have matching 401k. I believe it's up to 6%. I believe. You have to be there for 6 months in order for you to get that, but I think that's about to change. I think you're going to start getting that as soon as you're hired. I think that's about to change. My overall thoughts of working at Estes for the first almost 4 months now is it's a really, really good company. I really like the vibe. And again, this may vary from terminal to terminal. You know, I've had some people send me emails that they hated working at Estes. They don't work there anymore just because they had, bad management or whatever the case. I'm very fortunate. I've got a great terminal manager. Of course, he's got to be great. He hired me, right? And then our dispatchers. We pretty much just get in a truck and go. Whatever our handheld tells us to do, that's where we go. But that and having good co-workers, we've got good office staff. If I have questions, need a help with a customer, something like that, I've got that support staff I can call and get answers. Also, other drivers. When I first started working at my terminal, all the drivers have been very helpful, helping me with places. Oh, you're going here? Hey, you know, we'll blow it up on Google Maps. You know, they'll tell me, hey, make sure you go in this way, or this way's tricky. Make sure you come off of this street because you're going to have to do this type of back. So, you know, they've really set me up to be successful at this. And I think that's the most important thing anytime you're starting a new job anywhere, is that the management and your co-workers are going to help you succeed. Is this job easy? No. Is it very... let me put it this way. Would I rather be doing this job, or would I rather be doing food service like Ryan, or be doing Pepsi or Coke or Budweiser, something to do with the beverage? Oh, I take this every day of the week. There's a reason why there's very low turnover. I think with just our terminal, they've only hired like 2 drivers over the last like 5 years. So the turnover rate, most of the gentlemen I work with, you know, I'm 44, they're 55 plus. We've got some of them in their 60s, and they've been doing LTL work for 30 years. So it's something that, you know, once you get into, every company is going to be different. So my experience, even your experience within the same company, can be different depending on where you're at. I'm in a small terminal. That probably has its advantages, and it's got its disadvantages. You know, we're kind of the last ones to get things. You know, we don't have the newest equipment. We got good equipment, but it's not the newest. That usually goes to the bigger, you know, the bigger terminals, because we have some terminals that have, you know, they're massive, like Atlanta or down in California, or, you know, bigger hubs. But I really do. I enjoy it, and I hope that answered your questions that you had, Ryan. Somebody might say, how do I get a job with Estes? I believe it's workforestes.com. You can apply. You can see all the different jobs that are in your area. But if you have your CDL, I would definitely, and you want to work local and you want to get into LTL, I would definitely highly recommend that you look into working at Estes. Maybe you're someone that you don't have your CDL, and maybe you're looking to get a CDL. Estes has a dock to driver program. Matter of fact, a young man that I work with, one of the other drivers, been here for about, I think he's been driving for about 5 years, somewhere in there, or maybe 3 years, but he's been with the company for like 5. He started off as a dock worker, and, you know, loading and unloading trailers on forklifts. And after he'd been there for a couple of years, he decided he wanted to get his CDL and, you know, start making more money and start driving. And so Estes has their own CDL program. They send you to, I believe it's somewhere in Tennessee, I want to say. Maybe somewhere else, but I think it's Tennessee. And put you through a 2-week course and get you your CDL, and they will, you know, bring you back to your home terminal, and you can get after it. I think you do some training when you come back. I'm not for sure, but I'm sure you do. You do some training, and then you're kind of released out there to do your thing. So I hope each and every one of you have a blessed rest of your day. I hope you had a wonderful New Year's. I hope 2021 is a much better year. And, you know, whatever your New Year's resolutions are, if you have those, I hope you stick with them. I hope that 2021 is a year of prosperity for you and your family. And I want to thank you for supporting this channel. And guys, until I see you at the next video, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.